Hello everyone, I'm back with another video for you today. The patch has just dropped, which included a bunch of new leaders, a bunch of changes to, a significant amount of cards, and I figured I would help you maybe get a bit of a grip on the new stuff and the new stuff that you can play with these new leaders and with the changes by just throwing a few decks out there onto the internet and hopefully helping a bit. Now, keep in mind, I haven't actually played all of these decks. I've played a few of them, and the ones that I did play were decent, but by no means have I played all of these. I don't even know if, they're very, very good in practice. So if you do take them, make sure you iterate upon them yourself, improve them as you see weaknesses here and there. They're just sort of a baseline, to build from yourself. If you are kind of lost or looking for, guidance or want to try something out that you haven't, maybe seen or thought of with these new leaders, with these new decks. So, yeah, just keep that in mind. And I'm also, not claiming these will be anywhere close to sort of tier 1 level or, very competitive later into the season. Far from that. Probably only a couple of these new leaders will be sort of competitive. So keep that in mind as well, but, if you want to play them, then make sure to, get some games in while everyone's experimenting early in the season, and you might be able to win more games than you will later on with certain leaders. But that being said, I'll give a bit of a measure of how powerful I think each leader and each faction is right now with these new decks, and, a bit about what each deck can do, the cards, etc. But let's just roll through it. So firstly, let's go to Nilfgaard. I figured the best way to kind of utilize the new leader here is to play it in a kind of poison deck with Masquerade Bull, Asaya, etc., and all of those kind of shenanigans that you were already running in Nilfgaard. And the reason for that is you already have a lot of locks in there with Van Moor Helm, whatever, how you pronounce this guy. You get a lot of locks with him, so that's kind of a backup for stuff like Vanhamar. If you don't want to use it with your leader, you want to use it earlier in the game. And you also have Vincent, which can destroy an enemy unit with a status. So both of these cards can get value from the imposter locking a unit and spawning a base copy. And yeah, you've got that control there. You've got poisons as well, which will take out a lot of stuff. And yeah, it's a pretty solid Nilfgaard way to build a Nilfgaard deck with all the poisons. So I figured that was a good way to implement the imposter and that sort of lock value package as well in there. I think this leader's probably not that strong. I would say it's definitely on the weaker side of like overall leaders in the game. Like, I'm not sure this is better than Imperial Formation, for example. It seems like a wild card, but a little bit weaker. It might see play. I don't think it's unplayable. I think it's okay. But I'm hesitant to say it will be the best Nilfgaard leader. There's a chance, but yeah, it's kind of in the middle for me overall. But this deck should be pretty strong. I haven't tried it, so make sure you improve upon it if you do play it yourself. Deck codes will be in the description, of course, as always, guys. Next, let's go to Scoia'tel and Dwarves. Now, my impression was, sorry, I've refreshed because of the bug. They still haven't fixed it, but whatever. I get angry at that every time it happens, but that's just me. Yeah, so Dwarves, I didn't think they'd be doing too much. I still haven't tried them either, and I will be sure to, give them a few games at some point. But I think maybe the main problem with them is going to be lacking removal. I have just thrown like almost all the dwarves just in here that are good, the good value dwarves. You have a lot of resilience and carryover with Zoltan and Gabor. Now, you definitely could also play Sheldon, Ithlin, Agitators and stuff. I think those cards might be a little bit too weak and power crept. Not sure though. You could go for that kind of resilience and carryover approach. With this, it's a bit more balanced and a bit more just good value, good cards overall. And yeah, there's a few dwarves that you could consider throwing in, like the big 12 provision dwarves, Zoltan and whatnot. So that's kind of up to you if you want to do that. And Dwarven Mercenaries as well, I don't play because I don't think they're quite good enough. But yeah, you've got like Defender, you can TA that, or you can Tempering it with the Mahakam Forge ability. That's a pretty good engine. Apart from that, just Xavier, good value. Like, the dwarves, all in all, are pretty good value, and with the armor, they're going to be annoying for some decks to deal with, but I don't think this is going to be a super competitive way to play the faction. I think this leader will probably end up falling behind a bit, but we'll see. Definitely a lot of fun and worth giving it a go, I think, and experiment with a few of the cards here as well. Next up, we've got a Skellige deck, and I'm not sure that this leader will be the best way to play Skellige. It seems pretty okay. And there's multiple things you can do with it. You can discard Nilfgaard, for example, deal 5 damage, pull him out. Of course, you damage a unit by the power of the unit that you discard. In this deck, it's going to be Yutta. I figure you just get that nice 12 damage, enable Sigdrifa's Right, which is an alchemy, synergizes with Crow Mother. You could probably think about putting Gremist in here if you are seeing poisons and things. That might be a good card to include. You also have a lot of alchemies to work with it, so consider, throwing things around a little bit here. Maybe not playing Matter. I think Matter might be good because you get more value on the Priest kind of package. Veterans are also there as a backup target, and because they're kind of just, good to hit with Priest, pretty viable with Leader and with Sigdrifa's Right if you need a backup target. Could also play Hjalmar in this deck. There's some things you can do. Now in Skellige, Ceres is very strong now. They buffed that quite a bit. This might be a bit awkward to use in this deck because you're relying on Priest or Herald or, Totem or something to pull out the Queen's Guards, the Shield Maidens, not the Queen's Guards. So just bear that in mind, but should be pretty damn strong in this deck still. Overall, just kind of a good value, a lot of engines, package. It's what you're kind of going to get with Skellige, and some finisher value if you want with Ceres, with Sigdrifa's Right and stuff. So, and of course with Leader. So yeah, mulligan Yutta usually, or use your Leader on Veteran potentially, and get that nice big res in round 3. Pretty solid stuff. Alright, next we've got Northern Realms. I've seen quite a few people playing boost shenanigan decks, and I made one here myself. Just kind of utilizing that Reynard now that he got buffed a little bit. It's no longer melee row locked, and just a lot of boosts in general. Gonna be able to kind of play these Scythemen and of course your Leader for a lot of value, hopefully if the round is long. You're winning long rounds pretty convincingly. The question is, can you get into a long round? Will the opponent push you, bleed you, etc.? Possible that they will, so you've got to be careful of that. But if you are able to fire on all cylinders, then this deck can be very, very strong. You might want to play something like a Dahlia for extra engine value. It's kind of up to you. And there's, of course, a few more good Northern Realms cards that you can consider if you look around the deck builder, I'm sure. But this should be a good baseline for some kind of engine boost focused Northern Realms deck. Can't really say how strong this will be right now, but it seems, decent. Probably Prince Ansays would make sense in this deck, actually, with the Uprising Leader. So, consider that guy as well. There's definitely a few cards that you can throw in here that I haven't got. Okay. Next up, Hidden Cache. This leader's actually looking pretty strong from what I've seen of it. Passiflora Peaches becomes a lot more powerful, so you play those instead of Seductresses in order to, activate the Passiflora, and of course just getting a bit more Redanian value and Sea Jackal value, Soul value. It's kind of not a bad leader. Might end up being the best for Syndicate. We'll have to see about that. I think it's maybe better than Blood Money at the moment, but can't say if it's the best. But this is kind of just the same package that was being run last season. There's not that many Horde cards to sort of work well with this, so keep that in mind. And Morils could go in here if you're seeing a lot of tall units. Tin Boy could come out if you're not seeing much of the Swarm and the Elves and stuff. Might have died down a little bit after the patch and the nerfs they got. But yeah, this deck should serve you pretty well. Probably Syndicate will be the strongest faction. I think I'm reasonably confident in saying that. I think Syndicate and Skellige are looking to be quite strong. Possibly Scoia'tel as well. I haven't really tried any elf stuff or seen it yet, but that stuff could still be quite good. But yeah, there's a Syndicate deck. And last but not least, we have Monsters, which has gained the Overwhelming Hunger ability. I hate how I have to keep refreshing this, but what can you do? Yeah, so the way I'm using this in this deck is you get to eat 3 of your Deathwish units basically with this leader. It's like having a Kayron as your leader. And those targets are just Detlaf and Maruna. No Caranthir, no other things, just those guys. You're going to be able to get them because you have Royal Decree and Matter to kind of consistently get the Detlaf and the Maruna. If you don't find one, then it's a bit awkward, and you're probably just going to have to, lose a bit of leader value there. It will still play for 2 points, the charge. So, this leader, even if you didn't have all your Deathwish stuff, is still going to be worth 6 points. But ideally, it's going to be worth more like sort of 12, 13 when I've, calculated for the amount of points that the Maroon and Detlaf should get you. So it's a very powerful leader. Monsters, of course, the point slam faction typically. I am playing Necromancy for the triple lava kind of fun times, and yeah, this deck should be pretty good. I don't think it will be the best sort of faction monsters, that is, but there's definitely things you can do here. I've seen people trying Crimson Curse and stuff. I don't have a deck for that. I don't think that would be particularly strong looking into the future, but yeah, something like this, just good value, chunky boys, thrive up, and get that nice finisher leader value with a couple of your cards. Should be pretty solid. The one issue is your leader is tied to these two guys, which can be a bit awkward, so if you don't want to deal with that, maybe play more Deathwish units, more Consumes, etc. But I quite like the efficient, just three leader charges, 2 units, and then get all of your value. But that's just me. Anyway, yeah, that will do it for me. That's all the decks I have for you today. I will, of course, have the deck codes in the description. Hope those can help you, and I'll be sharing some more kind of optimized and other, full-on decks with gameplay in the coming days, so stay tuned for that. Subscribe if you haven't already, of course. Thanks a lot for watching, guys, and I'll see you next time. Bye.